high. In fact, it got up to like 194 yesterday, and we went ahead and sold some of the billion to, again, we said we were always going to manage it to just go one penny higher, so that we could really, really do our best to broaden out the base. I was speaking to another one of our rhinos yesterday on the phone for over an hour, and she had said to me, she goes, Anthony, so the one thing I don't understand, so I get how you set it up, right? So there's automated accounts, and instead of contacting anyone to be like a $10,000 account or a $20,000 account, you've made the sacrifice, and not sacrifice, but in terms of gratification, it's not immediate because you have to build it, because you've decided to try to come up with that really big number by adding up ones and twos rather than 10,000s and 20,000s, right? So the premise of Rhino is that if we're able to broaden the base and have, say, 10,000 different members, 10,000 different plans, all at least $1, those transactions, well, let me stop. So if we have 10,000 members that are all at least $1, that when that billion coin is exhausted, that 10,000 takes it to the next step. And what I mean by that is when you have 10,000 accounts that are all automated to buy at any price every single week, all in small dollar amounts, it's just excessive demand. And the point being, the reason why it's all small dollar amounts is so that no one person controls the market. But at the same time, no matter the economic hardship of any in particular person, that when they go ahead and I'm sorry, my nose is itchy. When they go ahead and take a look at what spending or what they're going to cut out of their month, it's a little bit further down the list, the $1 a week for Rhino rather than the $10,000 a month for Rhino, right? Like those are different numbers. And it's far easier, and every company's always done it, where they say, we want the big fish. Where are the big businesses? Where are the small business owners? Where are all these people that can actually pay large ticket prices? And we've always believed that, well, that's kind of the recipe of what's been wrong. And not that that thought process is wrong, because every individual will take the shortest path to success. It's just the way people are wired. Why am I going to do 10 steps when I could do 2 and get the same outcome? But because everyone has gone after those big fish, they've essentially kind of saturated them. Like the big fish are already been gotten, they've already been depleted. And in an economic environment that we're in, where everyone's kind of like scurrying, like, I need another client, or I'm losing my clients, those are the people they go after, which means the larger pot of people are the ones that are not the big fish, the ones that are just regular mom and pops, regular people, maybe people that are having a hardship. And it is those people that actually are our ideal targets, right? Because it is those people that are most passionate. It's those people that have more time on their hands to understand what went wrong. They're not just walking through life like everything's going fine. And at the same time, they may only have the $1 or $2 or $3, so that they pay attention along the whole way. They're in it. They're believers, but they're more or less I'm here for a cause. Like they're not here by accident. And when you have 10,000 of these accounts that are all automated to buy at any price, automatically all small dollar amounts, the other side of it, and the Rhino I was speaking to, was like, well, Ant, I get how those accounts will make the price of anything go up. It's 10,000 accounts all buying the same thing every single day at no matter what price. But what if nobody wants to sell it? Because the asset's going to be going up, right? By definition, you have all this buying. What if nobody wants to sell it? I said, well, that's where the magic happens. Because once the market shows, and this is, I sometimes get lost in this, because a lot of what we do together is you have to know, I guess it's just me, right? Like you have to know market behavior, behavioral economics, behavioral science. and just have a certain vision of what it's going to look like. And what I mean by that is because I believe that my experience in markets, or at least what I know about markets, says when you have a limited asset in a small market and have 10,000 buying no matter what, at what price, automatically every single day, every single week, it will go up. Well, the other half of that is, okay, if that happens, then what's going to be the behavior of those that have the asset, right? Because you can't buy something unless someone's willing to sell it. And to the point of the woman I was speaking to yesterday, she goes, well, what if nobody wants to buy it? Nobody wants to sell it. Well, why would no one want to sell it? Well, and because I see it going up. Why would they sell it if it just keeps going up? Exactly. They're not going to want to sell it. Okay, Aunt, you didn't answer my question though. Where are they buying it from? They're buying it from the sellers. But Anthony, what if nobody wants to sell? I go, I'm purposely going in the circle so that you realize something. Just because nobody wants to sell doesn't mean that there's going to be no sellers. It just means that the sellers are going to say, well, if you want to take this from me, you're going to have to give me this price. Because no matter, it's true, it's a true sentence that everyone has a number. Like, for instance, you could have a car that is the most meaningful car to you in the world. You and your wife had your first kiss on, Mount Kilimanjaro, right? Like, you guys had your first kiss there. So the car is very, very meaningful to you. And you would not sell it for anything. In fact, your neighbor, loves the old car, and he says, I would like to buy it for 5,000. And you're like, no. And the neighbor says, I would like to buy it for 15,000. And you're like, no. Well, yeah, you don't want to sell it. But Anthony, how's the neighbor going to buy it? Well, the neighbor's gonna, in RHINO, the automations are they buy at any price. So what price are you willing to sell that car? Well, I'm not willing to sell the car. What if your neighbor offered you $100 million for that car? Would you sell it then? Well, Aunt, $100 million? Yeah, of course I would. That's the answer. And then she goes, well, Aunt, the person buying it doesn't have 100 million. How does that work? RHINO has, I was looking at my phone. RHINO has 18 decimal points. The individual buying in the automated account isn't buying a fixed number of coin. They're buying with a fixed number of dollars. How much those dollars purchase is another story. So for instance, if I want to buy your coin and I'm only buying $1 worth and you're telling me, well, I'm not selling it for $1, I then say to you, well, how much would you sell to me for $1? And you'd say, I'd only sell you 0.1. Well, what's the value of the coin now? It's $100 because I'm buying 0.1, 1% of the coin for $1. My point is, I know a lot of this probably sounds confusing, and I'm purposely going in circles a little bit with it. But the point being, this is all done automatically. Like, you will never have to worry about what anything we just said was. And that's not to say you shouldn't worry about it, nor should you not understand it. But when your account is automatically purchasing, it's purchasing at the price that the seller is dictating. And your purchase is automatically saying yes, because you're purchasing with a dollar amount, not a coin amount, which means no matter the price the seller says, you can afford it because your money can buy a fraction of whatever the coin value is as per their price. So if the seller says, well, I'm not selling it unless you give me $100 million, well, $10 buys how much of 100 million, right? Like 0.00000001. But now the coin is valued at that amount. Point being, the markets will walk itself higher. So that doesn't give the seller permission to say, I'm going to sell for 100 million when there's like a bunch of sellers in front of them that are like, that's crazy, I'll sell for 5, 6, 7. But the natural path of the coin is constantly going up because the buyers are saying, I will buy it at any price. It does not matter the price. I need to buy it. It's automated to buy it. I have to buy it. Sell it to me. And then the seller says, well, if that's the case, I'll just keep selling it higher. Now, the other side of that makes people very uncomfortable is, Anthony, that's totally financial engineering. Like, that's a complete, that's going to crash, right? Everyone's just buying with exuberance. How does this, that doesn't even make sense. I agree with you. It doesn't make sense at all. That should crash. But why would it crash? Well, the reason a market crashes is because there's no more buying, right? Like, that's pretty, that's pretty standard. The market crashed because there was no one left to buy. Everyone bought. The exuberance sucked them in. They were buying at insane prices because they just needed to get in. Now all those suckers are gone. Hence the price goes. How is that solved with Rhino though? Because we have the first part, everyone's just buying exuberant, the price is going crazy. But how do we solve the second part? That's why Rhino's recurring. You see, by being recurring, you are now inputting, you're now extracting the future value of the individual. And the future value is infinite. Because if this coin, right, like if Rhino keeps going up and the buying doesn't subside, so if the coin goes from $1 to $2 to $3 to $10 to $20 to $100, but it keeps going because the individual is subscribed to purchasing that same exact amount every single week. The coin moving up grabs the attention of others that then come in and participate as well. The 10,000 accounts that are purchasing every single day, every single week at any price, no matter what, is the fuel that keeps it going forward because they're the ones that keep it going. You see, Rhino is built not to go ahead and run up and crash. It's built to run up and continue running up because what the belief is, the value of population is revealed in unity, right? People are infinite until the world blows up and then it doesn't matter. So the value of population is infinite as well. It's the entire wealth of the world. But the only way to reveal that is for the population to all vote with their money. And the only way you could do that is if the population agrees to invest in a single asset altogether and recurringly, because that investment that they say, okay, I'll invest $1 every week for the rest of my life. Will you, will you, will you? Cool. Well, that means the asset always has a next buyer, so it can't crash. It always has more. And that's how you actually get to the number infinity. So I think what we're going to do in 2023 is something that, at what point does it become viable and usable? It always is. Dr. Smith, it's always viable. So the market that we have, Pancake Swap, you could swap it right now. I see people sell every single day. You can take your coin, swap it for, say, Bitcoin, or swap it for a stable coin like BUSD, which is dollars, which is what we're backed by, and then just simply send that to your Coinbase or Binance, whatever wallet you have that has your bank account connected, and transfer it right into your bank account. Bet that. What about beyond Rhino? So what we're describing is extraordinary, right? Like if we are able to accomplish this, we change the world. What's beyond it is Rhino Street, though, right? So when we go ahead and continue the path that we're on, and when the coin gets quite exciting next year, the whole entire time it's just going to gather attention, and it's always going to be directed at Rhino Street, because to populate Rhino Street is the second portion of Rhino. You see, the mission of Rhino is to go ahead and transfer the wealth from the 1% back to the 99%, so that population is how people are valued, not demographics. And we believe that that goes ahead and solves everything going forward. We believe you can only do that in a two-step process. One, you have to go ahead and transfer the money back, which is what Rhino Bucks does, because the higher Rhino Bucks goes, the lower other things go. Because money is limited, money's finite. There's only so much money in the globe. So if you have one asset that's going up, going up, going up, all the people that own that asset are making money because they can now sell it at those prices. Who are they selling it to? They're selling it to the next person getting in. Because there's always a next buyer, the money is extracted. It comes from somewhere, and it comes from a transfer of other assets. And the other assets are owned by the corporations and the governments and yada, yada, yada. But once someone has all this money back, right? Like, so once you go ahead and you have a bank account that's commensurate with what you're actually worth, what do? Right? Like, they've taken it from you once, couldn't they do it again? And that's what Rhino Street is. Because Rhino Street is the force field, the protector, right? Rhino Street is a localized search engine for every zip code in the entire globe. Rhino Street searches within 20 miles of user location to other businesses that opted into being a search result. There is no marketing. There is no data retention. We don't have any of those services. We don't offer any of those services. Therefore, if an individual searches on Rhino Street, the only thing that will happen is that they are able to see their local businesses, and no one is the wiser of what they're searching. It's not like if you go ahead and search for the local pizza shop, Domino's is going to get that data, then they start sending you ads, which then puts your pizza shop out of business because now you're taking sales away from them. So if we're able to go ahead and recover you the wealth that you deserve, right? Like 1% should not have 99% of the world's wealth, and we're able to protect it to stay within your local community, now your community has been restored and rescued to grow the way it should based on the values of what it can be. So we're able to solve a lot of stuff, right? We're able to solve inequality, social justice, crime, poverty, racism. Like we're able to solve all of the stuff because it is the belief that hatred and depression and things that would turn someone into crime or drugs or drinking or hatred is probably a result of maybe not growing up well, maybe not having resources, maybe not having options, maybe not having a support system, maybe not having proper examples, stuff like that. So if we're able to solve that stuff, we believe the world then solves itself in a generation or two. But that's not to be confused with the profit potential being at the beginning. This is ground floor, right? We're either going to be successful or we're not. But I will be here every single day. I will post the statistics every day. I will be totally accountable so that if we're not going to be successful, we're going to know it really like way ahead of time. But as of right now, everything's going just the way we want it to. So those that are involved at this point, down the road, 10, 15, 20, 30 years from now, when the world looks back and says, remember in 2023, this thing called RHINO, bop, bop, bop. And the children of that day are going to say, yeah, I've always known RHINO. I was born, I know what RHINO is. The individuals in this room right now are going to be the ones to say, yeah, I joined the meetings every day. I was a part of that movement. And it's funny because when people look back in history and say, well, this person was part of this, or this person was part of this, the person in the moment never felt like they were going to be this historic figure, or they were going to be a part of this historic movement. They just believed that they were in the right place that spoke to their soul and they wanted to move forward with it. The pageantry of celebrating one's legacy is built by being able to think for yourself and see for yourself in the moment that builds that legacy, right? Like that's what this is. Will I take tomorrow off? No, I'm still going to do the live. If nobody joins me, that's fine. I'll post it on the YouTube. But I am going to send out an email that's going to paint the picture that I have been teasing all week about Black Friday. Because I feel like we're at that moment, I really kind of want to do a last call to everyone. For anyone that needed the year to see what we're doing, and as a result has not gotten in yet, and as a result feels like it left the station, I want to go ahead and speak to them. And of course, everyone that's in RHINO, like the offer is going to be for everyone. It's not like Verizon where, you could get the phone for $100 if you're a new customer, but if you've been with them for 20 years, they could, tell you to kick rocks. All right, I'm already 10 minutes over, and you can see that I'm thinking a lot. There's a lot I want to say about tomorrow. There's a lot I want to say about the passion of where we're going, but just know we're getting there. We are. What I could say is that remember a year ago. Now imagine a year from now. So I love everyone. I need to get back to work because I have to build landers and marketing material and work with the team and blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, no, I did, Kaylin. I was actually speaking to my wife about that yesterday, that I promised a picture of a Mars on Thanksgiving. I go, remember when we did that? She goes, we did not do that. You did that. And I said, oh, darn. She goes, well, now it's a we thing, but you kind of did that unilaterally. But yeah, we'll do a picture of a Mars tomorrow. But I totally love everyone. I really, really do. I don't think you could build a Rhino if you don't seriously love everyone. So love everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Where's the button? There it is. Bye, guys.